say, can you see? Oh, Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Okay, hello everyone. Happy Thursday, and welcome to the next episode of Buying Property in Mexico. Today, I have a very special guest with me, and it's actually in Mexico City tonight. Welcome, Fernando. And correct me if I'm wrong. Is it Antion?
Yes, that's right.
Fernando. Okay, correct. Great. And can you tell us what your role is at the airport in Rocky Point?
I'm the Director General or the CEO, as is known in the US, of the Mar de Cortés International Airport in Rocky Point. This airport is a partnership between Grupo Vidanta and the government of Sonora, the state of Sonora. And I'm the Director General since the beginning of the airport in 2009.
Oh, so you've been there. You've seen all the ups and downs through COVID and everything.
That's correct. Even the big recession in 2008. Don't forget that.
Yes. And how could we? So, can you tell us a bit?
Of course. I'm an economist. I've been in aviation since 1995. I stayed there in the aviation industry at the beginning with the government of Mexico, mainly on duties regarding airports privatization, which was done in the late 90s. And after that, I became the head of the Mexican FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, its counterpart in Mexico in 2000. And I was there until 2003. So that's more or less my background in aviation and airport industry. So you will have a kind of an overview of my background.
That's great.
Hi, Fernando. This is Ricardo Borges.
Joining us.
Hi, how are you, Ricardo?
I am
nice
well.
to meet you here.
Yes. Welcome. We have a list of questions for you. Hope you can enlighten us and the audience with everything that is going on with the airport.
Sure. I'll be delighted to answer any questions you may have.
Is there any plan
I guess what the main
so far
thing
to
right now,
enhance the capacity of the airport?
Well, as you know, the airport, we can divide the airport in two sides. One is the air side, which is the runway, the taxiways, and the platforms. And that part of the airport, it's already, we can say, at its fullest. We have a runway of more than 8,000 feet, which can land bigger aircraft. I mean, 737, A320. So that's not the problem. We can say our problem is the terminal, because right now we have a temporary terminal. We were hit by that's the reason I remember 2008 because of the recession.
Sure.
And at that time, we were about to start building the terminal, but the recession hit and we stayed with the temporary terminal. So we are still with that terminal. We have a couple of expansions there, so we can accommodate some regional flights. And more or less, that's the infrastructure that we have at the airport. which is enough to handle regional flights. And for example, the one we have from Tijuana and the one that we have in the past from Las Vegas. So those were served with Embraer's 145, which are 50 passenger jets. So that's the infrastructure of the airport right now.
So is the flight still current, Tijuana, Puerto Peñasco? Is this service still available or?
No, and there is a reason.
No.
The airline has some administrative problems with the Mexican FAA, and they were shut down. They are not flying right now. Probably in a matter of days or couple of weeks, maybe, there will be back in service. And we will see what are the conditions of the airline at that time. So maybe they will resume all the flights, or maybe some of them. We don't know yet.
Wow, wow, that's bad news.
Okay.
Yes, yes, it was very bad news for the destination. But that's not something that it's on our hands. It's in the hands of the airline.
Sure. Sure.
So we're going to get that handled. Is there anything else coming up on the horizon as far as additional flights besides
Well,
Tijuana?
We have been talking to several airlines. For example, Volaris has expressed some interest in taking that flight from Tijuana. As you know, Volaris has a big operation in the Tijuana airport. They fly all over to Mexico from that airport, and they are very big in that airport. I mean, they have many flights to, you can imagine, any city in Mexico. So they are the ones that have expressed interest. We are talking with them to see when that possibility can, come to life. But also, we have been discussing with other airlines, including some of the U.S. airlines, regional airlines, regarding the possibility of having a flight from Phoenix and a flight from as one of the airports from LA. That's another possibility. The closer possibility is the one from Phoenix. Hopefully in the very short term, in 2024, at some point.
We're gonna definitely need those. The developers are, taking big steps. Putting in the market lots of inventory, so lots of needs of airlines.
Yes, we are very aware of that, and also one of the things that we try to do a lot with the people in Peñasco is to get involved all the businesses, all the hotels, all the developers, to get along with the projects, with the flights projects, so everybody will be on board on that. That's one of the reasons that we were able to get the Calafia flight from Tijuana. Thanks, for example, for the businesses like Remax Costa del Mar, El Peñasco del Sol Hotel, Grupo Vidanta, Laguna Shores, and the county of Puerto Peñasco. The mayor was very supportive of this project, as well as the state, as well as the Secretary of Tourism of the state of Sonora. So we are thinking and talking to everybody regarding the possibilities of getting other flights and trying to get this same working group to support these projects.
So, just so everyone knows out there, what can the people of so the business people, um, what can they do to sort of expedite getting flights from Phoenix or Utah, Colorado? What do we
Well,
need to do?
sure, Loretta. There are many ways they can uh, help to develop these flights or these projects. For example, they have a large uh, database of customers. So getting these projects aware to those database, to those customers is very helpful because sometimes we don't have the marketing funds or enough marketing funds to get the flight known to everybody beyond the cities that normally, visit us. For example, maybe people from Tijuana knew about the flight, but not people from LA or people from San Diego or from other parts of the US where they can connect through San Diego with this flight and come and visit us in Rocky Point. So those are the things they can support, for example, marketing campaigns. They can buy tickets and try to bundle them in a package and sell them to their customers. Those are the little things that they can do in order to support a project like a flight from anywhere. I mean, Phoenix, Tijuana, you know.
Okay, we have a question. What is happening with the Mayan Resort and specifically Mayan Lakes development?
Well, that is not something that it's in the airport side. That's another part of the group that handles that.
Yeah.
But my understanding is that as regards to the hotel, they are trying to get the fourth phase getting run in the very short term. Uh, Specifically, the Mayan Lakes development, I'm not aware of any situation.
Okay.
Fernando, with regards to customs and immigration processes, can you tell us a little bit of that to for our audience?
Sure, Ricardo. Those two processes are run by federal government agencies. We work with them a lot in order to get those processes very um, easy and with no more hassles and trying to make it very quick processes so the passengers will go through those processes very quickly.
Mhm.
Sometimes there is a passenger that has some kind of a problem with the passport or with the visa or with the permit, whatever, and sometimes we have some problems with that. But we are trying to talk with them in order to get some info in advance so we can get that process uh, very quickly and the passengers can go very easily through the airport and go to the beach and go to other places, but not to the airport, not to stay at the airport or in the immigration or custom facilities.
Mhm.
We have a question. Are there any plans regarding taxi or rental car service at the airport if and when another airline schedules flights?
Well, at this time we have taxi service and we have a company, a rental car company at the airport. So, for example, if you are flying in, you can call us even at the web page or the company, and we will get that service to the customer that requires that service. uh, either the taxi service or the rental car service.
Okay,
But
so
those are available. Those are available at the airport.
they can book that ahead of time. Just go on the website.
Pardon?
They can book that ahead of time. They just schedule it online.
Yeah, at the webpage, we can do that, or we can get the reservation in advance. I can I can chat. I can put that
The
in the
comments.
chat.
Sure, that'd be great.
So if anybody wants that service, it will be easier for them to book and to make the reservation. So
And I can put that on the Facebook page afterwards. So Stacy has a comment, or Gord, I hope that answered your question. Stacy has a comment. There are many Facebook Puerto Penasco friends groups that can promote flights if we get them.
okay, that is something very important. Uh, we were trying to get all the people involved in social media, uh, make them aware of for example, the Calafia flight from Tijuana, and we were not getting all the people aware of that. So this proposal is very important for future plans, and we have a Facebook also with the airport, and we try to get the information to everybody through that page or through some billboards in the Rocky Point area, or through meetings, or through the hotels. You were asking me, Loretta, about what the hotels can do in order to help support the flights or the projects. Well, that is one of the things they can do. They can pass on the information to their customers, either or the flight from Tijuana, if we recover that flight, or a brand new one from other cities like Phoenix or something like that.
Fernando, how difficult is for a foreign liner company to actually fly down to Mexico back and forth? Let's say Phoenix, Puerto Peñasco, Peñasco, Phoenix. How
It's
hard this is with all the governmental requirements for them to make that happen?
it's not that hard, Ricardo. It's very easy. If they have a permit from the U.S. government or the FAA or the DOT, it's very easy because the bilateral agreement between Mexico and the U.S. allows U.S. airlines to fly into Mexico, as well as Mexican airlines flying into the U.S. And it's very easy. They had to, go through some requirements, but they are not that hard. I mean, it's quite easy. For example, Julie is asking me if we were in the past try to talk to Avelo or to Southwest Airlines to fly. Well, Avelo is not flying from to Phoenix. It's my understanding. Southwest it is, and we have been talking to Southwest since a long time ago, and they are looking for destinations that have enough demand. They think Rocky Point is not ready yet, and that's the thinking of the legacy carriers like American, like Southwest. The big airlines always see us as a very small destination with still demand in a developing process, we can say. So
So
that's
the
the
number of
reason.
seats would be the problem.
Pardon?
The number of seats would be the problem.
No, the number of people filling those seats. Uh, that's the problem that they see. That's the reason we approach regional airlines that typically they have 50 passenger jets
Uh,
or 70 passenger jets, not the 200 seats or the 180 seats that mostly of American or Southwest they have those kind of aircrafts.
So Mary has a comment that in the future, let's market prior to a flight beginning. For months, no one even knew that we had that route. And I think because we're a small city, we all have to pull together and, you know, market that as a company, as you know, individuals, spread the word, because you know we don't have millions of dollars in marketing funds like Southwest or Air Canada. So as a community, we have to pull together, which we're very good at doing, and spread the word about the flights. So I
Yes,
guess
that's very important, Loretta. And
I guess for my comment, that is, you know, we would like as much lead time as possible when we know that the flight's coming up. So us Remax as a business can to our client database.
yeah, typically a flight or a project like this takes a lot of time to put together. For example, we have been talking to Volaris for about 6 years, more or less. Uh, the other one, the regional flight that we are trying to put together from Phoenix, we have been talking to the airline from a year right now. And so it takes a lot of time to put together those projects. And as soon as we uh, got an agreement with the airline in order to set a date, for example, uh, then we start the process of marketing that flight. Typically, it's 3, 4, or even 6 months before the first flight. But you mentioned something very important. We don't have the enough resources to make a very big marketing campaign in order to get that flight aware to everybody. For example, in the case of the Tijuana flight, we made several meetings in Tijuana to get the people known of the flight. We spoke with travel agents, to some business group over there, even from the San Diego side, and that was the reason that the flight, let's say, did well since the start until the last flight we had before Calafia stopped it. But there is never enough money for marketing, and because you want to get spread the word to the farthest side, or the farthest city that can take that flight. But we always try to get the spread the word, and to get all the businesses involved, so they get the information to spread it to their customers.
A comment here from Mary Snyder. The Southwest
So
fly from Phoenix to Los Cabos direct now. An American flew from Phoenix to La Paz, but that flight canceled in January.
Yeah, that's very common among airlines. You know, they look for mature markets. Los Cabos is a mature market. Everybody flies to Los Cabos or to Cabo. But the problem is the airlines sees the small destination in a very different way. They look for us like a very risky business, and they look for other ways to try to minimize the risk. For example, the revenue guarantees programs, uh, advance purchase tickets programs. Those kind of programs mitigate the risk for the airlines, and then until then they are willing to make a flight, or to try to make a flight to a small destination like ours. So that's the reason it takes a lot of time to put together a project like this one, because
Now,
you have.
in regional companies, is there, in terms of people, is there a magic number uh, established already that that you can work with to say, okay, we have this number of people already? Do they have a number already in their minds to say, okay, let's move forward? Or there's a plan that they have to put together and analyze, blah blah blah.
Well, uh, you can say that, but sometimes the problem is the lack of information regarding how many people is living in Rocky Point that comes from Phoenix, let's say, or from how many Canadians owners of condos we have in Rocky Point. So how many people from X city, it's from that has a condo there, so we can establish some kind of a database, so the airlines can analyze that database and see that there is a demand, a potential demand for passengers, and but sometimes it's very hard to get that info and to pass it on to the airlines. So in order to substitute that lack of information, we had to provide the revenue guarantees and the
Nice.
marketing campaign funds and those kind of things. Uh, there is a question over there regarding Allegiant Air. Uh, we have talked with Allegiant. Well, let me say this because it will cover several potential questions. Normally, I attend uh, this Roots conference that all the airlines in the U.S. are present. So you pitch the destination to them, and I have been talking with American, with Southwest, with United, with you name it, Southwest, Allegiant, Spirit, even with Abello, with Breeze Airways. I mean, I've been talking to all those airlines, but sometimes they either don't have an aircraft available in the Phoenix area, or they are flying in the East Coast, for example. So they are not in their plans to have the Southwest in the route map. So, but we keep we keep looking for regional airlines that are interested in flying to Peñasco. There are a couple right now that we are talking to them, and probably in the near future we will have some good news for you.
Yeah, hopefully, it's very sad to have that beautiful airport out there and not have flights.
So I think that
Uh,
addresses Ruben's comment that he has a tour company and um, they couldn't put their flights together from Cali or Hermosillo.
well, that is something that we spoke with Calafia, uh, because we heard and we received that information from several people that they couldn't talk to Calafia in order to establish some kind of a business relationship. Uh, we asked the people from Calafia to listen to all the business interested in trying to establish some kind of partnership, a business relationship. But it was very tough.
Sure.
It is my understanding that to establish that kind of a business relationship, and it was a pity. I mean,
Mhm.
Yeah, let's hope that gets better. So Gord Stevenson has a comment about the costs. So do you have any sort of comment on what the total cost might be from Phoenix?
Well, depends on many things. For example, the size of the aircraft. For example, a 50 passenger jet, I will imagine that the cost will be around 400 round trip, around
Okay.
that figure. 350, 380, 400, something like that. Uh, the bigger the aircrafts, the lower the price, but we need more seats to sell,
Sure.
and that's another
Sure.
big hurdle. Uh, there is a question from Steve
That's a very,
regarding,
very important question.
yeah, medical emergency flights. Let me tell you, Steve, we are available 24/7 if needed. In the past, we have several emergency flights getting out of Rocky Point for medical reasons, for whatever reason, business reasons even. And the only thing you have to get a call to us, or even the aircraft that is going to do the service, give us a call, and we establish if the flight is at 3 a.m. We can do it. I mean, there is no problem. The normal hours of the airport are from 8 to 5. But if you get us a call and get the information, we will open the airport at 3 a.m. in order to get that flight out of Rocky Point with no problem. There
It'd
is
be
a
great
cost.
if you leave the contact information, Fernando, so everybody can,
It's on the web page that I put over
Okay.
there, but
Uh,
I will put the mobile number of the manager of the airport, which is in Rocky Point, and he can handle those kind of emergency calls, let's say.
Okay.
so Chandra
There you go. There is a mobile for Alonso,
wants to know if they suspended all.
and there is a question also from Sandra regarding Calafia. And yes, the flights are suspended in all Mexico. They are not flying any route right now.
Wow.
Calafia, regarding Calafia.
Okay.
Okay. So yeah, we have the contact information here. All right.
Yeah, there is something that we have to consider. For many of the airlines, the distance that they see as a turning point, it's between 3 and 4 hours driving. When you have that distance between two cities, a flight is possible. They prefer the longer the driving, the better for them. And for example, Phoenix is right there. It's, let's say, 4 hours. They say, well, people will consider driving instead of flying because the cost. When you are too far, you don't have the choice of driving.
Hmm.
Okay. So Ricardo posted the website. Thank you, Ricardo. We need to see advertisement on tourist sites that will promote Rocky Point in the U.S.
I,
Absolutely.
I agree completely. I agree. As a matter of fact, uh, there are several efforts that some of the hotels and some of the businesses are doing uh, in order to promote and get the word spread out. And in other cities like in LA and San Diego, and for example, in our case, we are using the Mexican consulates, the help coming from them, in order to have some meetings with people in those areas, as well in the Phoenix area, to get info, to get Puerto Peñasco known in those places, because, for example, in LA, not many people know about Rocky Point. And the same is for cities that are beyond, let's say, 8 hours driving from Rocky Point.
Las
So
Vegas, for instance, didn't you have connections prior in the past with Las Vegas, trying to connect elsewhere in the world and avoiding, people from Phoenix that can easily drive down as opposed to take a flight, but people that are living far, I mean, it'd be easier for them to just pick up a plane and come down. But it's
yes, well, remember we had the Las Vegas flight in 2013.
right. I do remember that.
Yeah, so it was looking good, but Aeromexico at that time decided to quit the Hermosillo hub, and that killed us, because that's a decision from the airline that we don't have control. So
Sure.
sometimes that happens. I mean, uh, but we are trying to get those regional airlines in order to avoid these kind of decisions from major airlines, that sometimes they don't see you, they don't take your advice, or they don't ask you what do you think about that coming decision. So sometimes it's tough. It's tough for us, for example, as a small destination. Getting a flight is very important, and it costs a lot of effort and money to bring an airline to Rocky Point. And suddenly the airline takes a decision that you didn't know about, or they
Right.
do not ask you your opinion. They just make the decision and go away. How much does good question. It depends on the aircraft, depends on the time of the day. But let's say an ambulance on a two-engine propeller flight probably will be around the between $5,000 to $6,000, more or less, because they have to have the equipment on board, so they are a very specialized service. It will be depending on the aircraft and those kind of considerations.
Oh, there's a comment for you, Fernando, from the tour company.
Okay, if we can fly to Tijuana and Hermosillo, please bring can work with us, small folks. Oh, certainly, certainly. We tried to do that with Calafia, but the people from Calafia were, not very open. Uh, but we will try for sure with the new guys that will come. The first thing we will do is to get the airline closer to you, so you can establish a relationship with the airline, so you can sell your business, either if you have a ground transportation or a tour company or a hotel, whatever, because that's the use of a flight. I mean, we need a flight in order to develop businesses.
Of course. We have a question from Chandra for you.
Yes. Well, that is that. I understand your point. but we are trying to get people that we can trust in order to get the service here and be trustfully um, and very open to do business. And the only thing is getting a close relationship between the airline and the people from Rocky Point. So you can talk to them. You have a point of contact where you can, pick up the phone or send a message or WhatsApp, whatever, and get an answer from the airline. I understand that that was not the case with Calafia, but uh, there are some guys in the industry that are that way. But we'll be trying to get the proper airline and get the flight into Puerto Peñasco.
Fernando, how well are we prepared at the airport premises to cover any accident? I mean, an airplane just come to my mind. An airplane having
Any incident?
an incident.
Well, in the industry, remember, aviation industry is a very well regulated industry all over the world. Is one of the industries that have standards uh, the same all over the world. We are being regulated by ICAO, which is the International Civil Aviation Organization, which is based in Montreal, and all the countries are members of that organizations. But also, the regulations are very standardized. So if you are an airport with that level of service, for example, if you are receiving or attending a scheduled service, you have to have the rescue service according to that service that you are providing or you are receiving. So you have the firefighters, you have the firefighting vehicles according to that service. So, and the proper training. We train our people all the time in matters of firefighting, paramedic, security, safety. We are aviation. It's a well-regulated industry. I mean, we are required to train our people always, always, always. So we are all the time training our people in those matters.
Okay, so basically that wouldn't be an item for any of the companies to point at us saying, no, I'm not going to Penasco because it's not safe or it's not uh,
No, no,
secure.
no. We are
Excellent.
prepared to have any kind of flights. For example, the other day, the Tijuana airport was closed, so an aircraft from Viva Aerobus landed in Puerto Peñasco uh, last week. It was a big aircraft. It's an Airbus 321 that was carrying 156 passengers. And they were parking in our airport for an hour, waiting for Tijuana to open because of weather reasons. There were some fog over the airport, so they had to, land in Rocky Point instead of Tijuana and wait there. So that's a reason. I mean, if Airbus 321 landed in Puerto Peñasco, well, we can handle any aircraft. Our biggest aircraft that we can attend, it's a Boeing 767, which you can make a transatlantic flight with that aircraft. Mary, it's asking me about Viva Aerobus or TAR. TAR is a matter of having aircrafts available. We are talking to them if they are willing to fly to Rocky Point and having aircrafts available. They receive a new aircraft, I think, in last week or something like that, and they are trying to open some routes, and maybe they will consider us. Uh,
And Viva wouldn't be an option.
the problem with Viva and even Volaris is the size of the aircraft.
Yeah, they're too big.
It's 180 seats, the smallest. The one that landed in Rocky Point the other day has a capacity of 240 seats.
Wow.
That's a lot of seats to sell.
Yeah.
So Ruben is asking me the way to contact me. Well, I will put my email if that is good.
Sure. Put your email in there, and then I'll put it on the page.
There you go.
In the meantime, Julie Gotch is asking, would it be helpful to talk to travel sites such as Travel Zoo, Sherman's Travel, etc., to promote vacation packages promoting Puerto Peñasco? And would airlines then have more interest in flying from Phoenix and other cities to Puerto Peñasco?
Some of the packages that the hotels have are already in those kind of places like Expedia, Travel Zoo. It's not our job as an airport, but we promote with the airlines and the hotels to get the packages on those sites, so it will be easier to people to buy them and to see that there is a possibility of flying, for example, into Peñasco. So we encourage the airlines and the hotels to put their services in those engines. Mary, you are very active, Mary.
Always.
Well, there is one of the things that Volaris is asking us. One of the topics I wanted to talk in the show was to tell you about the plans that we have regarding the expanding the terminal and those kind of things. And yes, as a matter of fact, one of the things that Volaris is asking us is to build a new terminal or to expand the current one. That is something that we are analyzing within the group, and also talking to Volaris about dates and compromises, because it's not easy to make a big investment in a new terminal, bring Volaris, and after 2 flights, they are gone. We would like to see a mutual commitment, and those are the things that we are talking with them. They are trying to put together this commitment. We are trying to put this business relationship in the best way possible, and probably in the very near future, we will have a bigger terminal, so we can receive flights with bigger aircraft. Well, Mary, you are suffering there. Don't tell me that you are suffering and stuck in La Paz. you are always enjoying being there.
We will feel for you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything that we have not asked that you feel is important to point out, Fernando?
Well, I think we have covered most of the things that the people is interested in. like which flights are coming in the near future, the plans for uh, terminals, a new terminal in the airport. Uh, yes, we have a ladder. As a matter of fact, this flight from Viva Aerobus, we use that ladder in order to get the pilot and the co-pilot from the aircraft, not the people. When you are deviated from your destination, you stay in the plane. You don't get down. You stay there for as long as needed. So just the pilot and the co-pilot went down to make some paperwork and those kind of things. But yes, we use the latter. The funding. Well, I mentioned at the beginning of the show that the airport is a partnership between the state of Sonora government and Grupo Vidanta. Grupo Vidanta provides the funding, and we are, financed by Grupo Vidanta, and all the needs that we require in investments, in equipment, in the building the new terminal is coming from Vidanta. I volunteer my free marketing service. Thank you. Uh, we have a number for Calafia, a Mexican number. I don't know if that's the same regarding the question that Ruben is asking. I don't have it right here with me, but it's in the web page. If you go to our web page, Ruben, and go to airlines, you will see either in the Spanish or in the English side a phone number of the airline of Calafia, and probably they can use that. Yes, I agree. Uh, that's the reason we start many of the flights with the smaller aircrafts, not the biggest ones. Uh, Sometimes everybody would like to be flying on a B737 that is more comfortable than a regional aircraft, but we had to be very aware of the situation for small destinations, and we had to start with 50 passenger jets or even 30 passenger jets, which at the beginning you may see it not as comfortable as the bigger one, but that's the service that we can afford. That's one of the issues I wanted to tell you about, Loretta and Ricardo. In the U.S., you have a program called Essential Air Service that provides money or grants for small destinations to fund a flight from your small destination to a hub. In Mexico, there is no such a program. The way we do it is try to form these working groups that I was telling you about, between hotels, businesses, owners, airport, state government, county government. So you will get some money and function as a grant or as a collateral or a risk mitigator in case the flight is not doing very well at the beginning, which is very typical. At the beginning, they start low with a low factor, with the capacity of the aircraft not being, full. But as long as the flight goes on and the marketing does its work, well, you will get enough passengers to make the flight feasible and afford and sustainable. I don't know if you have any other questions, Loretta or Ricardo.
I think that's great.
Not
You
for
know, I
today,
think the
no.
main thing we all understand from this is the community has to pull together and help our airport get stronger, be stronger, just like our town.
I agree completely. The only way to get things done is working together, and
Right.
I think that's the best way. And the results that we have had in the past, bringing the Aeromexico flight to Las Vegas, the other flights, was working together. And the Calafia flight was also a working together effect. And I think the coming flights will be uh, brought to Peñasco in the same way, working together. And I'm trying as hard as I can in order to get more people involved in bringing flights to Rocky Point. And I think that's the only way, because individual efforts are not the best way to do it.
Very well.
Thank you so much, Fernando, and nice to see you. Everyone
My-
have a great night. It's time to go and watch the football game now.
And
Thank you very much. Thank
we
you very much,
certainly
Loretta and
we certainly
Ricardo,
hope
and
this is
to,
not the
and to
last
your
time.
audience.
We certainly hope this is not the last time we get together on the show to bring to the people better news.
Yeah.
I'm available whenever you want me.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much to you also, and good night, and enjoy the football game.
Good night.